Well. Here we are. We are back. Great to see you guys after the holiday weekend. Hopefully, you had a great long weekend, and we are back to work. Ooh, it is the Sports Ethos NBA show with Rick Kamla. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have some fun. I got all kinds of goodies for you. We're going to talk about OKC's win over Minnesota, the Ant-Man of it all, put SGA and J-Dub's games into perspective. I'm going to actually look back on the All-NBA teams. I got a Rick's rant. Shaq will be in here helping me with the most valuable other. We've got Coach James Young of Sports Grid coming on in, I don't know, about 15 minutes or so. We got a lot of great stuff planned for you all. I want to tell you about our awesome sponsor, Bet Online. Bet Online is the world's most trusted betting platform, your number one source for all your sports betting action. Baseball season's in full swing. We're into the WNBA season, NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs. BetOnline has more ways for you to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news, and scores, even live in-game betting while the games are being played. They have the largest selection of odds in everything from MLB, NBA, NHL, UFC, and beyond. BetOnline remains the best online source for all your sports wagering info. In between games, head over to the BetOnline casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and a live casino. BetOnline, the game starts here. Time for Cam's Core 4. And number one is OKC taking a 3-1 lead with a 128-126 win in Game 4. Was it a classic? Maybe. It was a thriller. It was a really good game. And it was the best game of SGA's life. Most important game. He's had better stat lines and stuff like that. Most important game of his career. For me, the best game of his career with all that was at stake, the performance. He had 40 points, 9 rebounds, 10 assists, and it was an even game, balanced. The whole game, he was a badass. Wasn't like hot start, then a dip, then a cut. No, the whole game, he was just bucket, in the mouth. Take that with you. Big free throws late in the game. I know he missed one. That left the door open for Minnesota a little bit. But he made most of them, all right? And they did enough to win here. So many clutch buckets. It's like every time Minnesota would make a run, OKC'd go on a 7-0 burst and go up 6, 7, 8, 9. Minnesota would go on a run and bring it right back to like 3 or 2. Every time SJ was like, little drive you down, baseline pull up fade away. I mean, that shot is so freaking money, dude. It's so money. But what really has me geeked about this is SGA basically locked up a trip to the NBA Finals with that performance last night. Oh, by the way, it's on the road in a very, very tough environment. He continues to validate the MVP award. I mean, I don't hear anybody, he shouldn't be MVP. I hear a lot of people complaining about the foul merchant thing, and Doris Burke even complained about it on the broadcast last night. I think it's a horse bleep narrative. I think it sucks. I really do. I love Richard Jefferson on the broadcast, though, by the way. I think he's a great ad. I thought they should have gone RJ over JJ Redick. I think Richard Jefferson has 10,000 more times personality than JJ Redick does. Just my personal opinion. He brings a little. I'm going to say I like it. I'm just going to leave it at that. RJ, keep doing your thing, man. And for SGA, it was a great bounce back after he had 14 points in Game 3. 14. What is that? A great bounce back. So he's been awesome in 3 of these games. The 3 wins, he's been fantastic. 31 points, 38 points, and 40 points. And in the 1L, that 400-point beatdown in Game 3, he had 14 points. Throw that one out. J-Dub also was awesome. He had 34 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals. Best game of his career. It was. I mean, that stat line's amazing. Clutch buckets all night long. Got off to an incredible start in the first quarter, which helped OKC, like in the cat-mouse game, get up by 5 and 6 and 7 and 9 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 9. And they basically maintained that lead the whole game until that late burst by Minnesota. And they kept OKC could never take the lead up to 11, 12, 13, 14. They never did that. And Minnesota never got the tug of war or the arm wrestling back to where like they were able to take a 4-point lead. And then the swings back to OKC. It was like a weird in the box game of between, it felt like OKC was up between 9 and 3 the whole game. It's kind of weird that way. Made it tough for live betting, by the way. I'm like, is this game ever going to take a different track in a different direction? And it never did. Chet Holmgren was fantastic last night. 21 points, 7 boards, 3 blocks. Like, guard the rim, Minnesota. How many, like, just Chet going in for a dunk, or like they would play too much out on the perimeter and leave a dude wide open for a little dump down pass for an easy layup under the bucket. Minnesota, I'll get to them in a minute. OKC's big three had 95 points. What? 95 points from Chet Holmgren, J-Dub, and SGA. That's crazy. Somebody do a stat on that. Like, when's the last time a big three had 95 points? In a Western Conference final, like, I would have done some stat. If I were like StatMuse, I love StatMuse, by the way. But somebody do some research on that. That's got to be something. All right, 3 guys, 95 points. I don't know. It's got to be something. I'm sure it's been done before. I'm not saying it's unprecedented, but there's got to be some cool history of that. Did Durant, Westbrook, and Harden ever go for 95 points collectively in a playoff game? Huh? Oh, Andre's probably, if Andre's not in a meeting right now, Andre's all over that stat. Did Harden, Westbrook, and Durant ever score 95 together in a playoff game? It's just a question I have. All right, Alex Caruso, again, was incredible. And he's about to win another MVP award, MVO award, pardon me. And so I'll save some more Caruso conversation for later. Is this series over? Oh, yeah. Yep. Guys, I said this series was over at 2-0. 2-0 over. And here's why. There's no way. So at the time, like, Minnesota would have had to win 4 of the next 5 games against OKC. No. I'm not sure the Showtime Lakers could win 4 out of 5 games against this OKC Thunder. I'm not sure the Jordan, Pippen, Rodman, Kukoc Bulls could win 4 out of 5 against OKC. I'm serious right now. Dude, this OKC team, all right, what if 4 years from now, there's a D in front of their name? I'm just saying. Like, there's no ceiling on this. They're going to win this championship. And then how many more? There's no team in the NBA built for sustained success more than OKC. None. The draft picks, they've got this kid, it's either Topic or Topic. He should have been a top 5 pick. ACL slipped to like 12. And OKC's like, cool, we'll just draft him, stash him, rehab him, and then unleash him on the frickin' world and make it completely unfair. Yep, that's what they got. They just went and plucked. They sent a top 6 pick up to Chicago for Alex Caruso. Like, that's how OKC's got it. They're able to make moves like that. Nobody makes moves like that. Nobody ships out a top 6 pick, young in his career, still on his rookie scale contract, for a role player. Nobody does that. OKC does, and it's totally working for him. Yes, this series is over. Okay. Okay, number 2 in my core 4. Are we mad at Ant-Man? Oh, here's some stats here. Okay, here's some stats for us. Oh, wow. KD, Harden, and Westbrook combined for 94 points in Game 4 against the Grizzlies back in 2011. I love this. SGA, J-Dub, and Chet's 95 combined points in Game 4 is the most points scored by an OKC trio in a playoff game. See? Andre. Dude, this guy, by the way, I worked with Joe Underhill, Underdog, from inside the NBA. You hear Barkley talk Underdog. That's my guy, Joe Underhill. Phenomenal stat guy. Phenomenal. Super fast, like Andre. Andre's fast. It's not like, 15 minutes later, here's that stat you wanted. Andre's like 30 seconds, 90 seconds. It's like within the time frame. Shout out to Andre for that. Underdog was the same way. Andre, have you ever heard of Underdog, by the way? Joe Underhill, the stat guy for Inside the NBA. Have you even heard of him? Anyway, he's a great guy. He's one of my buddies, and I miss working with him. Okay. Are we mad at Ant-Man for what he did last night? He had 16 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 5 of 13 from the field. Me, no. Stephen A. Smith, yeah. Stephen A. Smith was foaming at the mouth at halftime last night because Ant-Man took 2 shots. And like, I agreed with Stephen A., right? But I'm putting more conditional context on my take about Ant Edwards. And it's not because I'm like a Wolves fan and like taking up for Ant-Man and like, no, I think I'll make it very clear to you guys, you know, how I'm processing this. I'm not mad at I'll start with the headline. I'm not mad at Ant-Man because he's 23. He is not supposed to have this figured out. He's not. And I love Stephen A. But Stephen A. is applying SGA or Devin Booker or Jokic, okay? To me, Stephen A. Smith is treating Ant-Man like he's 27 years old. Okay, like you're supposed to know how to do this. I don't agree. He's not supposed to know how to do this because you have to get in it and fail and figure it out. That's how this works. You're not surgically implanted, or they don't put a chip in the back of your neck that makes you Michael Jordan at age 23. Not talent-wise, but killer-wise, know-how-wise, knowing how to win-wise. And guys, this is one of the most historically awesome teams we have ever seen in our lives. The OKC Thunder just won 68 games, okay? This is not just a team. This is a historically awesome team, possibly a dynastic team, okay? He's not losing to an inferior opponent. He's losing to a much better opponent. We have to keep that in mind as well. Guys, OKC is the best defensive team I've seen in a long time, all right? And guess what? They are loading up on Ant-Man. They are showing him 3 bodies. They are closing off gaps on him. They're giving him nothing to see, okay? So, like, all he sees is bodies, and I can't slalom through this. I got to pass the ball, okay? We got to give OKC's defense some credit for this. And I know, I've been saying Ant-Man's got to be more aggressive. Chris Finch said he's got to be more aggressive. He said he's got to. It's harder than it is just to say that, okay? Yes, to mindset. You got to be going downhill and looking for fouls. The defense also has something to say about that, okay? I'm not mad at Ant-Man. If Ant-Man is still doing this 3 years from now, I'm mad at Ant-Man. I'm probably going to give Ant-Man 1 more year of this, okay? He'll be 24 next year. And OKC's not getting any worse, guys. Barring an injury, God forbid, okay? If you got Chet and you got J-Dub and you got SJ and you got Wallace and Joe and all of these mofos, okay? Why is Minnesota going to beat them next year? Why? How? I'm just saying, man. Guys, be patient with Ant-Man. The guy's a national treasure. He's the best interview and the best personality in the game. He is. He's 23. I'm going to scream it. He's 23. Get off of Ant-Man. Don't apply 30-year-old expectations and sensibilities to a 23-year-old phenom. Don't do it. It's not a good take, okay? Guys, Ant-Man is 23 and SGA is 26. That is 3 years of blood, sweat, tears, know-how, grinding, watching tape, being in playoff games, losing, suffering, learning from it. Ant-Man hasn't had those 3 years that SGA has. Is Ant-Man as talented as SGA? Yes. Is he as good as SGA right now? Clearly, no. SGA's the MVP. He's the second best player in the NBA. Ant-Man hasn't even approached an MVP award. Or, I'll just leave it at that. He hasn't even approached. He will, but he hasn't yet. Guys, it's very simple. Very clear. SGA is there. Ant-Man is almost there. I mean, that's a drop the mic moment right there. That's dope. Put it on a t-shirt. SGA is there. Ant is almost there. So I'm not mad at him. I'm not. SGA's more evolved, more polished, more championship ready, more MVP ready. Ant-Man will get there. He will have a championship. I've been saying this for a while now. He will have probably multiple MVPs. He's not there yet. He's 23. This is all okay. All right? These are lessons, stepping stones that Larry Bird had to go through. Michael Jordan, Hakeem Olajuwon, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, the greatest of all time. I don't know. Magic came right out of the womb. Boom, boom, 2 championships. My guy. Winning in his one and done year at Michigan State. Did he play 2 years at Michigan State? I can't remember. And then first year in the NBA as a rookie wins the championship, right? Okay, like, what is that? That doesn't Magic Johnson, my guy. Love you, bro. Before the series, I said Ant-Man can't be a part-time killer. And that's what he's been. That's what he's been. Next year might be the year where it all clicks in for Ant-Man. Might be, okay? Might be. It might not be. Again, you got this OKC thing. Denver may refortify and get even better. But hang in there, Minnesota. This is you, Timberwolves fans. Hang in there. Don't start getting all unruly. He will bring a ring to Minnesota. How he doesn't bring a ring to Minnesota is you guys busting his balls on local sports talk radio to the point where he's like, man, screw these guys. I have no loyalty to this. Don't do that, okay? Call up PA show on K-Fan and be like, I still love Ant-Man. He's 23. I was listening to my boy Kamla. SGA's 26, Ant-Man's 23. SGA's there, Ant-Man's almost there. That makes sense to me. That should be the narrative on Ant-Man right now, okay? Not banging on him for clicks and hot takes and clickbait. So no coaching changes. Don't fire Chris Finch. Oh, that'd be the stupidest thing you could possibly do. No more big trades. Keep Nas in free agency. Just keep the thing together, man. Okay? Keep the thing together. Oh my gosh. But I know that the hot take artists are going to be just putting Ant-Man on a rotisserie right now. Julius Randle and Ant-Man together last night, they were a problem. I mean, 21 points on 6 of 20. Ouch. We do have to give the opponent a lot of credit. I actually misspoke. I said Caruso with the MVO. The MVO is someone else. Possibly Nickeil Alexander-Walker. But his matchup with SGA last night was really, really fun to watch. I mean, NAW, and we know the defense on SGA. He knows his games. He knows his moves. They're cousins. They grew up together, all this kind of stuff. But the offensive get back that NAW had on SGA was just crazy. Really, really difficult to foresee. It won't be duplicated. Okay. And a shout out to Dante DiVincenzo, Naz Reid, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. NAW had 23. Dante had 21, and Naz had 11. Let me add that up. That is 55 bench points from 3 guys. That's crazy. And if that doesn't happen, guess what? OKC wins that game by 20 points last night. Speaking of 20, Minnesota had 21 turnovers in that game. It started early. There was no end in sight. They could never turn off the faucet on those TOVs, and that was a huge problem in that loss. All right, I want to tell you about the Sports Ethos app, ladies and gentlemen. Here, we are making big investments in what we call the next generation of Sports Ethos. Glad to have you guys along for the ride with that. The past 12 months have been a game changer for us on all fronts. We're working hard behind the scenes to deliver the best fantasy product you've ever experienced and the best on the market, by the way. If you want a taste of it, download our app now. Stay on top of the latest news for the NBA, NFL, MLB, plus take advantage of our fantasy basketball tools. Our app is your ultimate edge. Do not miss out. Number 3 in my core 4, and in moments here we'll bring on Coach James Young of Sports Grid. The Knicks saved their season with that Game 3 comeback at Indy, and obviously we are here on Tuesday. They will ball at the Fieldhouse tonight. So Indiana's got the Knicks down 20 in the second quarter. Cat leads the comeback, and I'll have more on him in a minute. He won the Cammy of the week, so I'll take a deep dive on Cat in a minute, but I didn't want to bury the lead. So I'm aware of the Cat thing in his historic fourth quarter, and we'll get to more of that in a moment. It was another 20-point comeback for the Knicks. They have the most 20-point comebacks in a single postseason since 1998. Oh, that's crazy. 3 20-point comebacks in one postseason, the most since 1998. That's crazy. Tibbs culture in full effect. Okay, because he made a major coaching adjustment here, and it had good results. It did not tipped the apple cart. It did not apparently piss people off, but he started Mitchell Robinson and brought Josh Hart off the bench. Mitch wasn't great, but he had 6.6 boards, an assist, a block, a steal in 29 minutes. Josh Hart in 34 minutes off the bench, 8, 10, and 4 with a steal. I wouldn't say that this decision activated either player more than usual, but it did give the Knicks a bench. And it threw a curveball at the Pacers. It had kind of a twin tower look to it for New York. Guys, it worked. They won the game. And I know they fell in a 20-point hole. You needed the miracle by Cat to do it, but you did it, okay? Hart is a great dude. Took it in stride. It's a culture move for Tibbs to have the balls to bench a heart and soul dude. Really, he's their spirit animal, Josh Hart. He's their Draymond. But there's love and trust there and respect, and so you go ahead and do that. And I thought that was all really, really good stuff by Tom Thibodeau. And Josh Hart to go with the flow of it. We have an injury here, guys. Aaron Nesmith turned his right ankle in this game. Tim Bontemps of ESPN reported that he was walking around the locker room with a noticeable limp. He is a game-time decision for tonight's game. And I want to give a big round of applause here to everybody involved with the decision to welcome back Tyrese Halliburton's dad, John. I told you this when all of this controversy erupted. What he did, confronting Giannis and all that was dumb and foolish. His son immediately checked him on it. And I said, they have sent him home. They have banished him from games. This is a horrible, horrible, horrible decision. This man is not going to make this mistake again. He screwed up. The whole world is mad at him. And his son is mad at him. And he's going to get it and not screw this up. So it took all of these games, but they finally made it right. So Tyrese's dad, John, will be allowed to attend the Pacers home games in a suite, beginning with Tuesday's pivotal Game 4 against the Knicks. It should have started with Game 3. I mean, if you don't want him up at a New York game, I guess I kind of get it. But this is the right thing to do. I said it that he missed 8 games with the decision made by the Pacers front office and also the NBA with this. And what you don't see there is Tyrese Halliburton. I promise you that Tyrese Halliburton's like, what? They've iced my dad out for 8 games? He wasn't cool with that. Because Hallie said after the game, what my dad did was wrong, but he said, that's my dad. I'm going to support him, right? So it's a beautiful soundbite by Tyrese. Like, loved on his dad, but also was critical about his dad and let the basketball world know, like, this ain't cool. And I'm going to talk to my dad about this. I just thought it was so perfectly handled. Sometimes pride can, like, get in the way or get you killed. Like, it would, not in this situation, sometimes in life. But for this, like if Tyrese would have been like, yo, man, I support my dad 100%, whatever he wants to do, I back him. That would have been the wrong thing to say by Halliburton, right? You don't back your dad 100% if your dad's doing dumbass stuff, right? You don't. But you love your dad. And okay, he did one dumbass thing. All right, let's reel it back in here. I mean, you screwed up, all right? We all screw up. And, you need a little grace. You need a second chance. But I think this should have happened way before now, but now it's happened, and I think it's cool. I think it's the right move here. Number 4 in my core 4, and in moments here we'll welcome on Coach James Young of Sports Grid. We will welcome him in here in a minute. So while in between shows here, you have SGA winning MVP. And I kind of sort of always knew this was going to happen, but in the back of my brain I was like, there was a late push. The Bill Simmonses and, guys like that, like really talking up Jokic. And I was like, is Jokic going to kind of steal this one from SGA? He did not. SGA won MVP. Finally, SGA wins an award. He should have 3. He should have a most improved award, got stolen from him by asshat voters that gave it to Lauri Markkanen. Literally one of the worst voting things I've ever seen in my life in any sport. And that probably includes presidential elections. I mean, just god-awful. There's no way Lowry was more improved that year, more worthy of that award than SGA was. And then I thought, SGA was my MVP last year, and I didn't have a problem with Jokic winning it. It was a coin flip to me, but I thought SGA was the MVP. So it could be back-to-back MVPs for him, and really 3 straight years with an award, MIP, MVP, MVP, but it's not, and it's just an MVP this year. So I think that's all pretty cool for SGA that he finally got his award. The All-NBA teams were announced this week, and I love All-NBA and the talk about all this kind of stuff. It's one of my favorite NBA topics. I love tracking it during the year. Who's all NBA and the debates that it creates. All right, so first team, Jokic, Giannis, Tatum, and SGA. All of that is like chalky, okay? And then Donovan Mitchell. And I was like, wait, are you serious? Donovan Mitchell? First team All-NBA? Horrible. I'm a huge Donovan Mitchell fan. It's not about that. It's about honoring the season that was had by these players. So I don't want to sound like I'm some anti-Donovan Mitchell guy. I love Donovan Mitchell. The guy's a star and dog in the same package, and that's rare. First team All-NBA for Donovan Mitchell? No. Nope. He just got rewarded for the Cavs' success. Guys, this was not a vintage Donovan Mitchell season. This was a good Donovan Mitchell season. First team All-NBA is just negligence. It's dumb. Second team, Evan Mobley, Stephen Curry, Anthony Edwards, LeBron, and Jalen Brunson. Okay. All right. I can rock with that. All right. So we have Coach. And so let's bring him on right now. We have just a little bit of time with Coach. Coach James Young, my man. Dude, thank you for making the time. I know you're all stacked up here. We'll keep you for about 10 minutes and we'll let you go. How you doing today, Coach?
I was not doing well to about, 4 minutes left to go in the Knicks game in the third quarter when Cat decided to wake up and Tibbs decided to play his bench a little bit. But hope you had a good Memorial Day weekend, and always a pleasure, Rick, to be on your show.
Yes, sir, Coach. Yes, sir. All right, so let's pick up with your Knicks right here. Put into perspective what you saw from Karl Anthony Towns in he had 20 points and 8 rebounds in the fourth quarter. Put into perspective what you saw from him that night.
He was all in his bag. Whatever he wanted to do. And I think obviously he was getting out of foul trouble. And honestly, folks, and this is where New York is right now, where people are starting to talk about back here. Without Brunson in the game and without a true point guard, there was a little bit more free flowing to their motion offense. The guys were getting on the move. There was better spacing. I thought what I liked out of Cat is he decided to take Miles Turner off the bounce. Miles Turner is not a great defender. He's a great shot blocker at the rim if you meet him at the rim. But if you get him on the move, he struggles. So you saw a couple of drives to the basket. The best play I saw out of Cat, and I wish he would do it more, he got him on the right corner, took him into the block, got him to dip, drop step, off glass layup. And then it got to 3. He almost like Cat worked inside out, right? And I think that's the problem with Cat is sometimes he's outside. And this is a guy that's 7 foot, 270 pounds, and he could be a 3-level scorer. So the interesting thing tonight is what do we get out of Tips? Have the Knicks unlocked something where if I'm New York, and this may sound crazy to folks, I try to stagger the minutes of Cat and Brunson as much as possible and let Cat be the focal point when Brunson's out. Brunson can be the focal point when Cat is out. Maybe run some 2-man game, but I just felt their offense started to flow. And with Brunson sitting on the bench with the majority of the fourth quarter, and folks, yes, it was fouls. It was also because he was playing like hot trash, and they had to go somewhere else. And Deuce and DeLon Wright and Larry Shamet, guys were giving him minutes for Tips. I think it may have to let Brunson take a step back and say, okay, I don't have to carry this myself, because if you think about the Knicks, their offensive rating was, I think, number 1 and number 2 the first half of the year. They dipped. The only time in the second half the Knicks were really, really on fire and all cylinders offensively, go look. It's when Brunson was out with the ankle injury.
Very interesting. So a couple of vibes for me, Coach Young, on heading into Game 4, which is tonight, is the Knicks are 6-1 on the road in the playoffs. The only road game they've lost was that game up in Boston, which was kind of a giveaway game for New York, honestly, right? That was, the Luke Cornett game and sort of that last hurrah for Boston. That's the only road game the Knicks have lost in these playoffs. And that was probably the least level of motivation road game for the Knicks in these playoffs. So they might have won that had they had more motivation. So I got that in my mind heading into this one. Also, Brunson, rock star in the first 2 games, dipped in Game 3. He's probably going to spike back up here in Game 4. So how are you viewing tonight's game?
Well, to me, it's about the totality of the Knicks team, right? I think the best thing I like about the game, whether it goes either way for New York, is I like the team total over 109.5. They got the 106. Brunson, terrible, foul trouble. Cat, first half, terrible, foul trouble. Bridges, not good offensively, right? They couldn't hit anything, and they got the 106, particularly because of Cat. I think that if I'm Rick Carlisle, I'm daring Tibbs to go back to the bench, which means I'm going to try and play faster. You heard a lot about Indiana talking about they played too slow in the second half. So I think the pace racks up a lot tonight. That's why I like the Knicks total over 109.5. And the guy I like out of all the Knicks in regards to props, I'm looking at OG Anunoby over 15.5. He's over 4 straight, 6 out of 8 versus the Pacers, the last 8 games versus the Pacers. And remember, one of the 2 he missed was game 7 last year when he was banged up, shouldn't have played, hit 2 threes and was out of the game with 6 points. I like OG because he could be that third guy that New York is going to need to get at least, let's say, 16 or more points.
You the man, Coach. I want to tell the people about your stuff. He's the host of the Betting Above the Rim podcast, lead basketball analyst at Sports Grid, and he's a hell of a guy, and we love having him on the show. All right, so where did I want to go next here, Coach?
I mean, you know what? One more really quick, Rick, on the other side. A guy you have to look at, people are like, really? Look at TJ McConnell's props. This guy is a goddamn, he's like a gnat. We get to the game, I'm like, oh, here we go. Here's TJ McConnell. He's gonna go muck it up. And you know what he likes to do? He likes it, you're right. He likes to get the ball on the move, and he likes that little 2-dribble pull-up, particularly right at the nail. So I'm looking at TJ McConnell over 8.5 points over all 3 games versus New York in this series. 5 out of 6 overall, and 8 out of his 10 games versus the Knicks in the playoffs, because when he sees Brunson, he tends to try and attack him, and not with the assist, with the pull-up. TJ McConnell over 8.5 points tonight.
Okay, so empty the chamber. Is that it for the betting touts? Let's get them all out on the table. Is that it?
I mean, listen, I could talk to you WNBA too. You know, wherever you want to go, I could go there with you, brother. That's not a problem.
Well, I tell you what, since we do a WNBA show. I don't know if you know that. We do it before this one live, 10 a.m. every Monday. We moved Monday to Tuesday this week. But I'm just throwing it out there. Would you want to come on my WNBA show? Do you cover it like that?
Yeah, I cover it like that. In fact, I'll tell people really quick. I know it's the NBA show, but if you're listening, Paige Becker's over 14.5 points tonight for, obviously, the Wings at Connecticut. First game back in Connecticut, right? 13 points per game, under 3 out of 4 games. Shooting it, getting 12.5 shots a game, and Connecticut is 11th in defensive efficiency. Paige, there's no way Paige, and remember, folks, Paige is outscoring Arike Wupawale as the score. So look for Paige to go over 14.5. Lynx Storm over 157.5. Both teams top 7 in the NBA, WNBA in offensive rating. Tons of scores on both sides. And then the Phoenix Mercury -7 versus Chicago Sky. Folks, the Chicago Sky are the worst effing team in the WNBA. And it's not even close how bad they are. They have no perimeter play. Courtney Vandersloot's back there with Chicago. She's playing 36 minutes a night. She can't handle that heavy workload. Angel Reese has trouble finishing at the rim because they can't shoot, and she doesn't have a lot of help. Give me the Phoenix Mercury -7 versus Sky tonight.
The one thing I'll say about the Sky, everything you said is right. But Cardoso's going to play better. Atkins is going to play better. Reese is going to play better. They've played some pretty tough opponents so far. I think there's some... not huge upside, but they're 0-3 right now. I think they will rise above Connecticut, GSV eventually. But right now, Coach, you're spot on with all of your stuff.
And Rick, really quick, that was one of the craziest things is the team won 13 games during last year's season. They fell off a cliff in the second half, traded Marina Mabrey.
That's right.
Fired, obviously, Teresa Weatherspoon, and fell off a cliff. And then Vegas was hanging their odds at 19.5 wins. Hopefully, Lord of mercy, you ran and took the under in that because you're right. They may not be the worst team in the WNBA, but they may be the third worst. And that's pretty bad.
Coach, we only have a couple of minutes left here with you. I got to ask you about Ant-Man. Just quickly, I wanted a whole thing. Like, I asked, are we mad at Ant-Man? And I explained I'm not, okay? He's 23, SGA's 26. And I condensed it this way and said a lot of other stuff, but condensed it like this. SGA is there. Ant-Man is almost there. I'm not mad at Ant-Man. I recognize the deficiencies, and it's got to be better than. But I'm not. Are you mad at Ant-Man?
No, because you look at Ant-Man, I still think he's a top 10 player in the NBA. And listen, Rick, we're going to have this conversation after the season where is SGA fourth? Is he third? I mean, has he passed Giannis? Is he up there with Nicole?
Oh, he's number two. He's number two for me. It's Jokic and SGA.
Right. So he's the top two player. Ant, I think, has solidified himself as a top 10 player. I think Ant will benefit from, ready? No offense to Mike Conley, been around a long time. A better point guard that can give him the ball in spots where he can score. A guy that can get to the basket, create up the bounce where Ant can't get loaded up defensively, right? He needs better consistent play out of. Ready, folks? It's happened. Julius Randle has come back down to earth, and it's the playoffs. It's here. So Julius has got to be better. And I think Chris Fitz do a better job of running stuff for him and not having it be catch 101 ISO ball, go play. Ant-Man is a top 10 player. I will say this. You could argue that I think Ant-Man is probably a top 6 player in the world. Because of his age, I'm going to take him over LeBron. I'm going to take him over KD. I'm going to take him over Steph. Embiid's hurt too much. So you're looking at some and then obviously Tatum is out. So maybe top 5. So any combination of Joker, SGA, Giannis, Luka, Ant, and then I'll give you whoever the 6 is. But he is really playing. Wemby? I think Wemby, yes. Wemby will come in the season top 6 because of its impact on both sides of the floor, and expect a monster year out of Wemby. So right there, top 6. And that leaves us with an interesting point I brought up 2 years ago on Betting Above the Rim. If you put some money on it, All-Star game, USA versus the world, folks, I just named the 6 best players in the world, and 5 of them are international. Like, oh my God. So a little bit of danger zone here if we were to get USA versus the world. But Rick, they need to do it for the All-Star game because the ratings suck and the game is even worse.
Dude, your energy, your passion's amazing. We got 2 minutes or maybe a minute and a half left with you. All right, Game 5 OKC, Minnesota. Are you playing OKC minus the 8.5?
It's over. I said, listen, I said Minnesota's going to get 1 at home. And I said before, it was probably going to be Game 3, right? Dagnall punted.
He did.
Win close Game 4, blow them out Game 5. Exactly. Kind of like the way how the Denver series ended. They're going to smell blood. There's way too many scores. Jalen Williams has been unlocked. There's way too many guys that are playing well, and they got no one to stop SGA. I expect a 15-plus point win by OKC in Game 5.
And Ant-Man is figuring it out. He's all in his head right now, wondering about gaps and seams and aggressive and passing and making the right play and the right read. He is like, his head is swimming right now, and that's going to get no better in that boiling cauldron at Paycom Center in Game 5. Coach, really appreciate you, man, making some time for us. Look, I'll be in touch about this NBA show. Also I'm actually stoked to talk WNBA with you, man. I didn't know, because not all NBA guys are this invested in the W. So respect on that, Coach, and have a great day. I know you got some other gigs and some stuff to do, but be well, my friend.
Just remember, I am a women's college basketball coach as well. That's why I do most of my training. So I am locked into the W. I'll see you next week, Rick.
Love it. Coach, you the man. All right, peace out. That is Coach James Young. Andre, sounds like we've got a guest for the WNBA show next week. I think that's kind of what he was saying right there at the end. Anyway, love me some James Young. Again, follow him, guys, at Coach Young NJ. At Coach Young NJ. Host of Betting Above the Rim podcast, lead basketball analyst for Sports Grid. And I got to, every time we have Coach on, he impresses me more than the previous time. He does. The intel is just extraordinary. I love the betting takes. I love how deep he goes. And it's really an example of, you want to play SGA's over and Brunson's over and Ant-Man's over. That's not a winning strategy. You've got to go deeper than that. He's going to the point total for the Knicks. He's going to TJ McConnell. That's where you have to go. The fringes, the margins are where there's wiggle room. There's no wiggle room on the mainstream, the best players. And by the way, I figured something out. in terms of prop betting, right? So it's way easier to go over than under, right? It takes balls to go under. Everybody goes over, okay? So Vegas knows that. So they always puff the numbers up by 1, okay? Because they know you're still going to go over, but they know that 1 a lot of times is going to lead to an L for you and a win for them. So they know that you're going to go over anyway. So they just tack on like 1 more point. They'll still go over, and you do. And I do a lot of times. And how many times do we lose that point prop? By 1 point. I'm telling you. We think we got it figured out. Vegas definitely has it figured out. Fountains, casinos, billion-dollar buildings, okay? Anyway, all right, so let's get back to work here. All NBA. All right, where was I? I was complaining about Donovan Mitchell being first team. But the second team is Mobley, Curry, Edwards, LeBron, and Brunson. Third team is J-Dub. I think that's really cool and correct. Cade Cunningham, Karl Anthony Towns, James Harden, and Tyrese Halliburton. Okay, first of all, to me, I don't like that we've opened up and made all NBA position lists. I don't like that. Because you've only got 2 centers represented here. Jokic and Cat. I believe, so what they've done is they've made it front court. So you have Evan Mobley being, think of the second team right here. It's Mobley, Curry, Edwards, James, Brunson. It's basically 4 guards or wings and a forward. No, it should be center, forward, guard. That's how it should be. You don't go like point guard, shooting guard. You just go center, forward, guard. I don't like that. So that centers, good luck making all NBA now. Okay? Like if you're Sabonis, if you're, not Cat or Jokic, who are just mainstays, you're screwed. You're not making all NBA anymore. And so much money is attached to all NBA in these contracts. I don't like how the NBA has this set up. I do not. They put way too much. I'll check up on that because I want to talk about Jaren Jackson Jr. and that shit show in a minute. But so let me do a little checklist here. Okay. So my first team, all NBA, was Jokic, check. Giannis, check. Tatum, check. SGA, check. And Halliburton. Okay. They had Donovan Mitchell. Whose team was better? Duh. Who was the better player this year? The more impactful player? It's Hallie for me. So Hallie was third team, not first team. All right, second team. I had Karl Anthony Towns. He was actually third team, not second team. But that's because of this bullcrap no center thing. I had LeBron on my second team. Check. I had Curry on my second team. Check. I had J-Dub on my second team. He was actually on the third team. I had Cade on my second team. He was on the third team. So far, 10 for 10, the ordering may be a little mixed up. I had Mobley on my third team, not the second team. I had Edwards on my second team, not third team. I had Brunson on my second team, not third team. And then you have two guys I had on that didn't make it. I had Domantas Sabonis on, and I had Jaren Jackson Jr. on. James Harden made all NBA. And he was like right on my bubble, okay? And Donovan Mitchell made all NBA. And he was literally so you do 15 guys for all NBA. He was guy number 16, and it was a great debate in my head between, Cade and Brunson and Edwards and Mitchell and all this kind of stuff. But I'm like, I said all year, the Cavs don't really have an MVP. Allen, Mobley, Garland, and Mitchell have all been spectacular. A phenomenal core 4. And so I want to honor the core 4. Look, 3 of the guys made the All-Star team. I think Donovan Mitchell being a first-team All-NBA guy is egregiously wrong. Egregiously incorrect. I think it's easy. I think it's lazy to just go with Cleveland in their 64 wins and say, Don, you got to look into this more, guys. You do. Cade Cunningham had a way more impactful season to me than Donovan Mitchell. It's not even close. Not even close. Jalen Brunson had a more impactful season than Donovan Mitchell. Anthony Edwards had a more impactful season. Anthony Edwards led the league in 3 balls made, okay? And got Minnesota to a good record and all that kind of stuff. What are we doing here? Donovan Mitchell, like all NBA, wins should matter, but they should not dominate. It's got to be a blend of wins and stats and impact and importance. And to me, that's just really, really lazy to put Donovan Mitchell on first team All NBA. Like if he were second team or third team, I'd be less like in my feeling. I don't even know how to say it. Like again, I love Donovan Mitchell. He's All NBA. Okay, I'm not mad about it. Like if he was third team and knocked one of my guys off, fine. But like first team, it just doesn't ring well with me. It just doesn't. Anyway, I'll check up with that. But that's where it's at. Now, in terms of Jaren Jackson Jr., whoa, this is crazy. He was one vote away. According to, I think it was Clutch Points, they wrote one selection away from the biggest bag in NBA history. Check this out. JJJ was at 22.2 points per game, all-star, all-defensive team. Actually in the running for, defensive player of the year, and did not make All NBA. And by the way, on a good team, right? What was Memphis, 4th or 5th or whatever they were? So Jaren Jackson Jr. misses out now on the Supermax, okay? So it would have been $350 million. So he loses out on 200, and now he's going to get like $150 million. He just lost $200 million from one vote. That's not wrong. It's hard to believe the NBA has it set up that way. I would honestly rather have the league office do this. They're smart. They watch the games. They're into analytics. But it's sort of outsourcing the voting on MVP and all these awards and All NBA to the media is it's what we've done for a long, long time. And I think the system is now broken. You have guys voting. One of the Utah guys said that he literally voted for his guy because he's a hometown guy. Okay. That guy should immediately be fired as a voter. Not fired from his job with the Salt Lake Tribune or whatever. He's a homer. They love homers up there. I'm not, trying to take money off the guy's plate. But that guy should not be voting anymore. He just told you that his voting process is completely lame and whack. One vote by one voter who might have gone with his or her hometown guy just cost Jaren Jackson Jr. $200 million. That should never happen. If I'm Adam Silver, I'm like, this is something we have to fix. And Adam is, and maybe it can't be fixed until the next collective bargaining agreement. That's probably the case. But I know that Adam has worked with the players union, and if it makes sense for them, and this definitely does, this just cost a player $200 million. If I'm the players union, I want to talk with Adam right now about fixing this. Adam, I'm all ears. Love to hit me with some ideas right now, okay? $200 million lost on one vote. It's a tragedy. I want to hug Jaren Jackson Jr. He's large. I'd probably have the awkward hug around his waist, but no, sorry. Anyway, I feel bad for Jaren Jackson Jr. Look, he's on a mountain of money already. He will continue to make mountains and bushelsfuls and Brinks trucks full of money, but still, $200 million is $200 million, and it's gone. Poof, you'll never make that back. Okay, you got to hit it at just the right time with the All-NBA and your contract and how it's all set up and all the triggers and escalators. You got to hit it at just the right time. They got to fix that. Probably the number one thing they got to fix in the NBA. They kind of fixed tanking. They kind of fixed load management. Huh? They did. There was not nearly as much tanking this year as there was for Wemby. And I thought tanking I thought tanking diminished. I thought load management diminished a little bit this year. There's progress in those areas. This is something they got to fix, again, if they can. All right. Anyway, we want you guys to support us. If you're enjoying what we're doing, it's very, very easy. The best way to support us is leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. And if you're feeling extra generous, tip your bartender, drop us a written review, and help us grow and reach more people. All right, time for the cameo of the week. As I said, it's Karl Anthony Towns. I called out Cat before this series began against Indiana. And do you guys remember what I said? class. Do you guys remember what I said? Of course you do. I said this has to be a cat series. This can't be 18 points and 9 rebounds. This has got to be like that where he gets like the shoulders out and stuff. We know that Jalen Brunson is going to ball out and close games and be a warrior and be that guy. We know it. He's done it since Villanova, and he's going to continue to do it his entire NBA career. Jalen Brunson is the Batman. He needs his Robin to show up. You can't win a chip without your Robin kicking ass. You just can't. Game 3, season flushing down the toilet, Brunson in foul trouble, and Karl Anthony Towns had 20 points and 8 rebounds in the fourth quarter, rising from a horrible game himself to become the toast of New York City. And that's a crazy ascension and turnaround. Matter of fact, it's like I'd say a Hollywood script. They make a lot of movies in New York. It's like a New York City screenplay, okay? Cat has been the guy that he is needed to be for New York. In 3 games, he had 24 and 25 in Sunday's miracle comeback. I got to take miracle off that. That's not a miracle comeback. 20 points down in the second quarter is not a miracle comeback. We have an in-show, live, real-time edit going on here. It's not a miracle. But it's a hell of a comeback. All right, 24 and 15 in that game. 20 and 7 in game 2. 35 and 12 in game 1. Last year in the Western Conference Finals against Dallas, Cat started the series well, but ultimately was not good. 19 points, 8 rebounds, shot 38% from the field, and 24% on threes. That sucks. And I believe that's a huge reason why Minnesota traded him to New York for Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo. And Dante was the man last night for the Wolfies. It is time for Rick's rant. I'm going to make this short and sweet this week because I don't want to keep Shaq waiting anymore. Fake Shaq. Hopefully, this is the last time I bang on Steve Kerr about Jonathan Kuminga. Frankly, there wasn't a lot of fodder for Rick's rant this week, but this does trigger me, okay? NBA Central put out, Steve Kerr says Jonathan Kuminga is not the type of player he would play heavy minutes at the moment if he wants to win games. So I see that headline on NBA Central, and I'm like, Steve Kerr literally hates Jonathan Kuminga. What did Kuminga do to this man? What did he do? What did he do? I literally can't remember a coach banging on a player like this ever. Andre Lemouche, I ask you, can you ever remember a head coach publicly banging on his own player over years and years the way Steve Kerr has banged on Jonathan Kuminga? There is no filter. There is no sugarcoating. There is no, and he doesn't even like bang on him and then like try to clean it up on the back end. It's just like sledgehammer, blood splatter, and he walks away. It's unreal. So here's the actual quote from Steve Kerr. And again, Andre, have you ever in your life seen a coach, NBA head coach, bang on his own player publicly as much as Jonathan Kuminga? I can't think. I have been locked in on the league since locked in, late 1980s. Like I watched and I was a kid, right? Like with Magic in like the early 80s to the mid 80s. Like I was a kid, all right? So like basketball cards and posters and watching games when I could and all that kind of, yeah. But like locked in, like stats, fantasy. I invented fantasy basketball in 1989. So I've been locked in that long, okay? I've read press clippings, and obviously it was different back in the day. There was a lot less access, a lot less reporting, a lot less intel. But I've never seen a coach bang on a player publicly like this. And so, I don't know. But this is what Kerr said. He said, quote, "It's a tricky one because Jonathan obviously is gifted and wants to play a bigger role and wants to play more. And for me, I've been asked to win. And right now, he's not a guy who I can say, I'm going to play 38 minutes with the roster that we have, Steph and Jimmy and Draymond, and put the puzzle together that way and expect to win." I mean, I'm like at a loss of words here. I really am. You guys know me. I've been talking since I came out of the womb. He just can't stop killing Jonathan Kuminga. Dude, Jonathan Kuminga is going to be scoring 20 a game for the Brooklyn Nets next year. Jonathan Kuminga is going to go back to Golden State, I don't know, for some game in January or some shit, right? And Steve Kerr is going to be like, yep, I see him. I see the success. I also still see the lack of passing, the lack of rebounding, the lack of defensive rotations, the lack of hustling back on TV. He's still going to freaking bang on this guy. The Jonathan Kuminga return to Golden State game. Kerr is going to get his bat, and Kerr's going to be the pinata, and Kerr is going to bat that pinata, and candy's going to fly everywhere. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. The Dubs are... apparently, maybe not, driving down their value. Why do you keep banging on this guy? He is entering free agency. Presumably, you're going to look to sign and trade him and get some assets back for him on his way out, because you're definitely not matching an offer sheet for Jonathan Kuminga. So he's going to sign an offer sheet. You're going to then work with that team, and you're going to try to get a couple of second-round picks from that team in exchange for Jonathan Kuminga or something like that, right? And you keep driving down his value. Dude, Kerr, I know that you're still in charge of the Warriors. I know Mike Dunleavy Jr. is the GM, and the GM is bullshit. Steve Kerr is the guy. Steve Kerr's the pop. He is the Bill Belichick of this program, okay? Doesn't matter what the title says. I promise you, Steve Kerr has more say about personnel than Mike Dunleavy Jr. I would literally put my life on the line about that. I will die on that hill, okay? There's no way that, because Steve Kerr's been a GM, he and Bob Myers worked in lockstep with one another. That might have been why Bob Myers left, that Steve's voice was rising above his. I'm still trying to figure out why Bob Myers left that job. You can't convince me. And so that whole thing about, and Steve Kerr's such a game player, and I see right through it, and it's such bullshit. He said, and for me, I've been asked to win. Okay, so now you're passing the buck to Dunleavy Jr., and you're basically blaming your historical 5-year run of dumping on Jonathan Kuminga on Mike Dunleavy Jr., who hasn't even been there 5 years. It's such bull crap. Kerr, we see right through this. You're not outfoxing us, dude. You're not. We see right through it. I've been asked to win. That's such a lame comment. You have 4 championships as a head coach with Golden State. Of course you've been asked to win. Every coach in the NBA is asked to win. All right. I'm going to lower my voice, calm down, and have some fun with this one. I'm telling you, I don't know. It just keeps coming up, and it keeps triggering me. I don't know. It's like I don't road rage. I'm down here in Florida. First of all, I'm like a peaceful guy. I'm a peace and love guy, so I don't road rage. But I'm down here in Florida. I promise you, road raging in Florida is not where to road rage. Okay? If you're a road rager up in Ohio or something, and you think you're going to come down here in your F-150 and road rage down here in Florida, they got a little something more for you. Y'all don't understand the tenor down here in Florida on the roads. Dude, I drive like a grandfather down here. I'm in the right lane, going between 55 and 65. Bro, the fast lane is like 90. Zhoo, 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 zhoo. There's motorcycles zipping in and out, slaloming through. It's madness down here in Florida. I'm telling you right now. I'm like looking, going through intersections. Like, is some idiot just going to come through on a red light and black? It's the wild, wild west down here. I already had a car totaled. Older lady. I'm going straight. She's taking a left into the road, and I'm going straight. I got the right of way, right? She just bangs right into the side of my car. Totals my car. Not the one I'm driving right now, obviously, but anyway, I've already been through it. And so now, dude, my head is on a swivel, brah. I'm like a pitcher that threw a heater, and there's 110 coming back on my head. I'm like, whoa, like the Matrix out here on the road. It's crazy. Do not road rage. Now, don't think you can just flip somebody off. Dude, they will hunt you down. They're a little crazy down here. Not everybody. Bunch of awesome people down here in Florida. There's some crazy mofos out on those roads, man. Do not road rage down here. Do not. Scream in your car. Just just scream. Just do that with the windows up, right? And get it out and then move on with your life. Do not road rage. That's the most random thought bubble I think I've had on this show. All right. Rick's rant continues. You see, I'm fired up. Is Luka Doncic the next Zion Williamson? And you're like, what is wrong with you, bro? A lot, actually. But I asked this question. It's a farcical, sarcastic question. Is Luka the next Zion? I ask this because pictures of Luka Doncic at the Real Madrid game went viral over the weekend. And I must admit, Luka looked great. You know where you can tell? Guys, you know where you can tell? Especially when a guy's like wearing a t-shirt, and not wearing a basketball jersey where you can kind of see definition in arms and stuff, is the chin. And I have noticed that a lot of guys grow the beard more when they're puffy because then you can't see the chin line. And if there's a puffy chin line, you grow some hair over it and you can't see it. All right. And for Luka, you can see in these pictures, his chin line is very tight. And to me, that's a great example of leaning out and being fit and trim. Because, I mean, and not to be weird, but, you can't, analyze a guy and see you have love handles or you carry an extra weight. Like, just look at the chin line. I've just found over the years it's a good way to diagnose, like, yeah, I can tell you've lost weight. You're thinner in the face. That means you've lost weight everywhere else. He looked good. The arms looked like skinnier. And for Luka, Karl Anthony Towns, I would say the same thing. I think I would lean out if I were these guys. Cat's got to lose 20 pounds. And I know he was at an MVP level this year and all that kind of stuff. I just see it guys, I've been watching hoops a long time. And I know body types, okay? And I know as you ascend in age, you got to take weight off. You just do. Tim Duncan did. And it was huge for Duncan. Like, he was never a big, bulky, like bodybuilder guy. But it was a whole, like, he was starting to have problems with his knees, and he leaned out. And he looked like skinny out there. And it's like, where did his muscle go? It probably got him 3-4 more years in the NBA. And it's not like he was getting pushed around or anything, okay? He had man strength and all that, but and you can lose weight without losing strength. It's about taking weight off of your knees. That's the most important thing. Because your knees, I mean, you need the brake pads. Obviously, your knees are they're your livelihood as an NBA player. So I think Cat needs to take some weight off. Luka just needs to lean out and just get more serious, man. So I'm wondering, am I going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe for the second straight offseason? And back to the Zion Williamson comparison. It was late summer. We got some pictures that went viral of Zion Williamson at a camp with kids and that kind of thing. And damn if he didn't look great. Chin line was defined, and he just looked like skinnier and smaller. Like, he just needs to get smaller. You know what I mean? Carry less weight. We know you're a big hulking guy. Just like deflate a little bit, I think would be the best thing for him. So like, and I fell for the bait, and I had a huge Zion vibe heading into last year. Drafted him in a ton of leagues. I still won basically all my leagues where I had Zion, but I had to win in spite of drafting Zion in like the 4th round or something, right? No big deal. We don't always nail every single pick, and you hustle on the waiver wire, you make trades, you make it work, and you still win. There's no reason to let go of the rope and quit ever. So Luka and Zion have different body types. I think Luka has more desire than Zion. I think Luka can have even more desire than he currently has, but even as is, it's more than Zion has. But for me, my whole thing with Luka is I thought that being with LeBron, who is the body king really for all time in sports, he is the body king for all time in any sport. To have the longevity that he's had, football players sometimes play into their 40s. Brady played till 45. That's crazy. But he's not the first guy to do it. George Blanda did it. Other guys have done it. In basketball, nobody has even approached what LeBron is doing at his age. Nobody's even come close. Jordan didn't. Garnett didn't. Dirk didn't. None of them. Any name that you want to mention in the NBA, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, all of them, they all like, boop, 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 boop. LeBron is just, nope, MVP level still at 40. It's unbelievable, okay? He's the body king in sports history. So you would think that Luka being with that guy would help, okay, to get him focused, to learn some of LeBron's tricks of the trade and all that kind of stuff. So I think that the LeBron influence, and I'll go this far. I think, 4 years from now, like when Luka's a champion and he's gotten his body right and he's gotten his head right and he's serious, okay? Because once Luka gets serious, he's going to win at least one championship. But he's not serious enough to do it yet. Next year, he might be, again, because of LeBron and that influence. But I believe that when we go 4 years out, 5 years out, Luka is going to go back, is going to cite his time with LeBron James as the most important time in his career to get him right mentally and physically. I believe that. I'm putting that out there 5 years, okay? And I remember LeBron did this with Kobe because LeBron was with Kobe at the Olympics. And then much, much later, he talked about how being with Kobe during that time and then the relationship they established in the ongoing conversations super helped LeBron in a variety of ways as an NBA player, okay? And so, but it was many years later that he kind of looked back and like, damn, that time with Kobe really, really hooked me up, okay? I think Luka's going to be saying the same stuff about Bron. But guys, here's the falling for the banana in the tailpipe thing, okay? I don't believe that those pictures were photoshopped, but the NBA offseason hasn't even really begun. It's May 27th right now. The season starts in October, which feels like a year from now, okay? So there's still plenty of time for beer drinking, laziness, vacations, losing your way, coming back, and LeBron's like, bruh, what happened? All the work we did. What the hell? Sorry, man. I was in Cabo for 4 weeks. And I know he'll be with the Slovenia national team this summer. That's another thing. What's that going to look like, right? Does that lean you out even more? You going to party your face off there and put some weight on? I don't know, man. But he's got a doughy type of body, right? And, there's some guys, I think of Scottie Pippen. I think of Kevin Garnett. I think of Kevin Durant. They're not ever going to be doughy. They are chiseled. And Pippen came into the league super skinny and was a rocked up, savage superhero. Kevin Garnett never got rocked up, but he was always skinny and always really, really strong. Kevin Durant, right? Oh man, he couldn't even lift 225 at the combine and all this stuff. Who cares? The guy's got one of the best wetters in the history of the game. Okay, so tall, skinny dude. He's had the same body his whole career. He's gotten stronger and stuff just by playing in man weight and that kind of thing. Doncic is not that guy. Like if Doncic just kicked it, he'd be 50 pounds overweight. Like I just think he's prone to adding weight. He's got that sort of doughy thing going on with him, which requires even more vigilance with your body. Jokic has a doughy body type. You've got to be extra vigilant to keep that weight off, okay? Cut down on the carbs, no sugary sodas, just all that kind of stuff, man. And Jokic figured it out. Boom. 3 MVPs, a ring, all of that is there for Luka. Literally, all of that is there for Luka. He's just got to dial in and get more serious. So, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. We're all going to have big opinions on Luka next year. I mean, let's face it, all right? He is going to be a top 4 pick. Wemby, SGA, Jokic, and Luka, some kind of order depending on your taste. Is going to be where he goes. So Zion, though, there's a lot more wiggle room with where you could take him, right? So me having a big vibe on Zion last year was a swing and a miss, but like I said, I still got those rings. Hey, you guys want to hang out with us live? Subscribe to the Sports Ethos YouTube channel. Follow at Ethos Fantasy NBA on Twitter, Blue Sky, and don't forget to drop a thumbs up on this video. All right, so let's move on to the MVO, the most valuable other. And I got to bring in my boy Fake Shaq for this one. Fake Shaq, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, Kamla Juice. How are you?
I'm doing great, Shaq. Thanks for asking, man.
You're welcome.
All right. Shaq, you want to chill for just a second?
I'm chilling.
All right, cool. All right, so it's Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Going into last night's game, it was maybe going to be Alex Caruso again, and it was maybe going to be Terrence Shannon because Terrence Shannon was a big star in Game 3, 15 points in 13 minutes. After the game, TJ Shannon, as they call him, said, when my name is called, I do what I do. He actually performed well, I thought, in Game 4 as well. So it was trending in that direction. And then the Nickeil Alexander-Walker game happened. Okay, he went toe-to-toe with his cousin, a.k.a. the MVP, a.k.a. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He had 23 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, 9 of 15 shooting, 5 of 8 from 3. He had difficult finishes, which were crazy. Off the dribble spin moves, all of these crafty finishes around the rim, taking bows to the throat by SGA on like a little step back shot. And Nickeil Alexander-Walker, I told you, because I know the family relationship, many of you do, that this was going to be an NAW series, and it absolutely positively has become an NAW series. He has gone double figures in 3 of the 4 games. So, Shaq, I ask you, fake Shaq, is it Terrence Shannon, aka TJ? Is it Caruso? Is it Nickeil Alexander-Walker who gets the nod for MVO this week?
Kamla Juice, I'm rocking with you. It's NAW. That was a spectacular performance. Unfortunate he didn't get the win. SGA rose to the occasion. Almost a 40-point triple-double. The MVP was the MVP. Back to you.
Thank you, Fake Shaq. Appreciate it. Fake Shaq, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give a little round of applause. All right, so Fake Shaq will be back next week, won't you? Fake Shaq, you coming back next week?
Kamla Juice, it'll be a game time decision.
All right, we'll take that check. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Cam Goody's here, guys. Hey, I got some predictions for Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals and Game 5. I'm going to make this short and sweet because me and Dr. A are going to do a little fantasy joint where we go into detail on this kind of stuff. It's called the Fantasy NBA today, and we'll be going on at like 12:45, about a half hour from now, all right? And we'll be talking about tonight's Game 4. But I'll take the Knicks. And I'm gonna give you one stat, and I'll tease you, and then I'll flesh the rest of this out with Doc. The Knicks are 6-1 on the road in the playoffs, and I think that's a strong stat, and I'm rocking with it. I think the Knicks are going to get this game. And then Game 5 between OKC and Minnesota, I agree with Coach Young. I'm laying the 8.5 with OKC, and I'm doing it before the game because I think this thing's only going to like spiral and billow and swell, and it's going to end up being OKC minus 13.5, 14.5, 18.5, 19.5. And you're going to be like, damn, I should have just played the 8.5 before the game. So that's where I'm at with it. The Wolves had their shot. Ant-Man and Julius Randle had their shot. You had to win Game 4. Okay, now you're down 3-1. Now you're screwed. Now you pretty much know you're dead. And so I think, Minnesota's going to fight a little bit. Hell, they might even get off to a 10-5 run. Timeout OKC. Dags brings them over and figures it out. OKC's going to figure it out and win this game. Guys, all right, so let's move on here. I'll talk more about that with Doc A. You guys, I think that Chris Paul and Brook Lopez are going to be LA Lakers. There was a report over the weekend that Chris Paul is not expected to be back with the San Antonio Spurs. Did not surprise me. With the rise of Castle, you have Fox. You also have Devin Vassell. Like, it's just kind of squeezed there. And Chris Paul wants to play. Chris Paul does not want to play 18 minutes off the bench. He wants to start or play big minutes, right? So if you go to the Lakers, you'll play big minutes. They need Chris Paul out there. They need his ball handling, his shot making, his defense, his guile. They need him out there. And it is time. We have talked and flirted with Chris Paul playing with LeBron James for so long. They're best buds, and it's time for them to play together. Kind of like that year where Melo played with Bron. It's time, all right? And then, and it'll probably be on a veteran minimum deal. Like, if I'm Rob Pelinka, I'm like, CP3, like, I got a veteran minimum for you. That's all I got. And CP3 made like 12 last year with San Antonio. But if he's not going back there, I'm not sure there's more than a veteran minimum contract out there for Chris Paul right now. I'm really not. And so at that point, he lives out in LA. You'd be with your boy Bron. You'd be a Laker for the first time. And so, I don't know, maybe a veteran minimum deal. We shall see. And then Brook Lopez. Bobby Marks reports that the Warriors and Lakers are expected to show interest in Brook Lopez. I don't like the Warriors anymore because how Kerr treats players. So I really, really, really don't want my guy Brolo to go to the Warriors. I really, really, really want my guy Brolo to go to the Lakers. They need him more. He'd be a huge difference maker on that team. Frankly, if they get Paul and Lopez, I may start to look at the Lakers again as a championship contender because right now I love your big three, and outside of that, I pretty much hate your team. So if you get Paul, you get Lopez, you make a couple of other tweaks, get a couple of other mercenaries, I'm going to like your squad. Hell, go get Pat Bev. Why not bring back Pat Bev? I saw him at the Wolves game last night. He started this year in Israel, and I promise you Pat Bev still has game. I freaking promise, okay? And the Lakers do have both of their mid-level exceptions, so I think they've got the dough to go get a Brook Lopez. Guys, go visit sportsethos.com. All of our work, all of our brilliant minds are available to you at sportsethos.com. We pride ourselves on being competitive, taking no shortcuts, and delivering the best fantasy content in the game. Our drive is simple. to be the best, to win, and to have you win along with us, okay? It's a community. We're in this together. We're here to help you out. You're here to help us out with subscriptions, okay? Sometimes you got to pay for some stuff. It's not very much money, though, but we got to keep the lights on. We got to keep the train moving, all right? So help us out with that. Consider subscribing. The prices are low, and we have grandfather programs. So if you get in now, you're grandfathered in. And so if prices go up a little bit, inflation, life goes on, prices go up with stuff, right? It'll make your subscription price incredibly cheap as we keep adding more and more value to our platform. And then a shout out before we get out. I saw a funny tweet by NBA Memes, and it said, and it had a picture of Campaign shooting the ball. And it was like this. It was like he's shooting the ball this way, and it was like a side angle. So you could really, really see how awkward it is in the whole setup, and how, you would talk about getting your elbow in. It's hard. Like, I just slightly injured myself. I'm kidding. I'm doing that. But it's weird, right? So NBA Memes puts that picture out, and it says Campaign shooting like he's casting a spell. Like he's, with a wand, like going to do that or something. I thought that was so funny, like some Harry Potter shit or something. I'm not even a Harry Potter guy. I'm aware of the movies. I've never watched 1 minute of one of those movies. They look a little too nerdy for me. I'm kind of a nerd. I'm a sports nerd. I'm a music nerd, right? I'm not like a dorky nerd. I'm probably kind of like, I don't know. I'm just not that. I would say that. I don't like talking like great about myself. I'm humble that way. God keeps me humble, man. But I'm a nerd, okay, in some areas. And I rock too. But sorry, God. But but for Campaign here, okay, is just the Harry Potter thing is a little nerdy for me. But the Campaign shooting like he's casting a spell. It's a hilarious description. And it got me thinking of the most awkward jumpers in NBA history, okay? And I say this list with like all affection to these guys. I'm not banging on any of them. There are guys in baseball who have like awkward batting swings, right? And I learned a lot of them, like Cecil Cooper with the flat bat, Rod Carew with the flat bat. Don Mattingly had like a weird trigger in his swing. I'm bringing up some old school guys here. Dave Winfield literally like swung out of his cleats every time. Same with Gary Sheffield Sr. I'm buddies with his son, Gary Sheffield Jr., who's in media now. But there's no banging here. It's all love, okay? But you think about the guys with the most awkward jumpers in NBA history. Josh Childress immediately comes to mind, okay? He had the fro and like the weird push shot. Sean Marion he's the GOAT of awkward jumpers. Because to me, Sean Marion's a Hall of Famer. The rebounds, the assists, the blocks, the steals. What a stud. The Matrix. What a player he was, man. He was before his time. He'd be even better in today's game than he was back in the day with the D'Antoni 7 seconds or less Suns. That was such a cool group, man. Sean Marion's the GOAT of this group because he had an awkward, like from the waist, and I got to throw Lonzo Ball on here. I forgot about Lonzo Ball. Remember, he came out of UCLA. That shot was jacked up. He went like this with it. It was like, start here. It's like you're turning your car wheel. It was like that. It was like, dude, you gotta fix that. Like, you just gotta fix that. It's just taking too long, bro. You're gonna get your shot blocked. You're not gonna get it off. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, obviously. Look, MKG was overdrafted by Charlotte. Fine player. But he couldn't even make free throws, man. Like it just wasn't working. And in today's game, you need skill. And you can be a hard hat kind of defense guy, but you can't be completely devoid of skill. You gotta have some skill. And MKG just couldn't get that skill thing going, man. But shout out to MKG and then Bill Cartwright back in the day. Look up some Bill Cartwright video, you young fellas and ladies. He would rock it and like over his head like that. It was like a weird release. Larry Bird to a degree, because he would like really rock it back, and it was not textbook, I would say, but I wouldn't say it's awkward like Cartwright or MKG or Lonzo Ball or Marion or Childress or Campaign. But this is the ultimate shout out here. Shout out to all of these guys with awkward jumpers. I'm not going to say any other adjective because, Payne's been in the NBA a long time, hasn't he? A lot of money, guys. Childress in the game a long time, then went overseas. Marion's a Hall of Famer, in my opinion. MKG didn't last that long. Bill Cartwright played forever, okay? Shout out to these guys for making it work with an awkward jumper. That's it, guys. We are out of time. Big shout out to my great producer, Andre Lemouche. Big shout out to all of you guys for watching. I appreciate you. Retweet this on your timelines, okay? Let everybody know your boy Cam is rocking a hell of an NBA show over here. Huge thanks to Coach Young for coming on the show. At Coach Young NJ on Twitter. Check out his work over at Sports Grid as well. We really appreciate you guys. I'll be back next Monday at 11 a.m. with the next episode of the Sports Ethos NBA show with Rick Kamla, and I will be on the air live in 23 minutes with a man named Dr. A with the Fantasy NBA today. That's right, 23 minutes from now, live with some fantasy hitting you in the head, man. So we'll see you then, and I appreciate you guys. Peace.